Hello, welcome everybody. This is JBlaze39 coming to you at from Fantasy Results Show, brought to you by the DailyDraftAnalysis.com and your one-stop shop for all your NFL needs, all your fantasy needs. So we are in week 2. And let's get to it. We had a crazy week 1. We had some guys that we were on that did really well. It was a good week, and week 1 is always a bit unpredictable, and it definitely lived up to the hype. There was a lot of defense, a lot of touchdowns, defensive touchdowns in week 1. And some things that we didn't expect. And some of the chalked plays that didn't pan out very well. There was some major injury news. The biggest one being, David Johnson going down. Sounds like he's going to be gone for a while. I think he's having surgery here, so he could be, he'll be on IR with the possibility of coming back. And the other one is Allen Robinson going down with a torn ACL. That's for all your Jaguar fans. Well, that's a big blow to your offense. So, then the other one is Kevin White, but then again we weren't sure on his how if he was going to produce anyway. So, well, let's start this breakdown. So what we do here is we break down each matchup, from a DFS standpoint, and just strategy wise, and we're gonna go. Typically, I don't personally partake a whole lot in the Thursday through Monday slates. But for the people that do, I'm going to go through each game and for that benefit. So, and because that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to break everything down and help you, give you the right information. So, the first game we have is Houston Texans against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. The Bengals are favored by 5. Point total of 38. And this looks like just an ugly game, based on week 1. But what history has shown us from week 1 to week 2 is there's a lot of correction, and week 1 becomes a anomaly a lot of times, and then we see the real trends or tendencies start showing up in week 2. So what I see happening in this game is obviously it's going to be a defensive battle. I think Houston's going to come back and play better. Of course, they couldn't play much worse against Jacksonville last week. So, but Cincinnati, there's their home opener. And tell you, Andy Dalton looked like crap last week. I think I think I think he bounces back and has a decent game. Look for AJ Green to, it's a primetime game. Look for AJ Green to bounce back here, and I don't expect a whole lot from the running game. Joe Mixon might do a few things, but I'm not expecting a whole lot from this game. I guess if you want to go with defenses, you could go with either one of these defenses, but because the offensive line for each side is needs a lot of work. So, the usual players in this, on the Houston side, it's Lamar Miller. Actually, Lamar Miller might be a decent play because Baltimore ran pretty good last week against this defense. So, and Lamar Miller is a better back than Terrence West. So, look for for him to get going. A sneaky play here could be Dante Foreman sniping, a touchdown or two. And Deshaun Watson is going to make his debut as a starter. And he looked all right in preseason. But, again, he's a rookie, so he has the legs to make it, get some stats that way. So, in a deep flyer, he could take Deshaun Watson, and pair him up with DeAndre Hopkins. I personally wouldn't recommend it, but if you really wanted to think outside the box, you could do that. So, and then pair him, and then go with AJ Green on the other side. Kind of a stack that way. So, where you could do Miller and Houston defense. But all right, that's enough of that game. We'll move on to the next game here, and that is, let's see here. I don't know, with the Sunday games here. It'll be Tennessee at Jacksonville, taking on the Jaguars. Tennessee's favored by 1.5. Total points of 43.5. This is going to be I could see some fantasy goodness here. Jacksonville's defense it's improving, and they're I think they're not quite there yet, but they played pretty well last week, but I think they come back to reality a little bit this week. Mariota's a much better quarterback, so on Tennessee, I could see Mariota as an option. Pair him up with Delaney Walker. I'm a little nervous about Murray. Didn't didn't seem like he was part of the game plan last week. So, then again, maybe that was a game script, and they designed it that way. And, it could be a different story this week because, Jacksonville their run defense is a little suspect. And they, their pass defense is really good, but their run defense, well, you could do Murray this week. I think there's others out there that are better, but in a pinch, you could, he won't be very high owned, that's for sure. So, from a contrarian standpoint, you could use him. Now on the other side, Leonard Fournette is, he's gonna get the workload for sure, and they don't have anybody else, other than maybe Marquise Lee, Alan Hearns. I keep an eye on this Corey Davis. They really like him a lot in Tennessee there, and he could be a sneaky play. If you're building multiple lineups, you could do it, with Mariota and Delaney, or Mariota and Corey Davis, and then match it with maybe a Marquise Lee, just to, give yourself a little bit of an edge. These two teams have the capability of turning into a shootout. And if that happens, you want to be covered. And, the ownership will be very low on this game. So, you could be a nice pivot. So, you could go that route. Now, just keep in mind when constructing, your lineups, and I'm going to say this every week. You think of this, you're building your lineup as a jigsaw puzzle where everything fits together. Everything, everything's got to correlate together. So, if you go this route, and it's going to give you the ability to spend up at other positions, and so you could have your chalky plays, and then have this to separate yourself. This only works if you're making, multiple lineups. If you're making one lineup, two lineups, forget it. I wouldn't even touch this game. Moving on. Let's go to next game is Baltimore at home against Cleveland. Actually, the former team taking on the new team, basically. This Baltimore's favored by 7.5. Over under is 41. There's some sneaky plays here. Baltimore, really likes to throw the ball a lot. They didn't last week, but I think that was by design, because of the matchup, and the fact that their defense, got them up, by quite a bit, and they didn't have to throw it. So this week, Cleveland's not going to be a pushover. But Flacco has traditionally played very well against the Browns. He has a lot of touchdowns, against the Browns. So, with that being said, what I see happening, what I could see Flacco having a good game, and his main target is going to be Macklin, obviously, but then Bashard Perriman was targeted a few times in the red zone last week, and they really want to get him involved. And he's a big receiver. So you could go Flacco Perriman. If you want the home run hitter, you go to Mike Wallace. Or you could do Terrence West and Baltimore defense. Buck Allen kind of came on there, but Terrence West is the main guy there. Until further notice. And, now, you could go either way, but it's, personally, I think West will get to have the bigger opportunity. Another guy I like, this is under the radar guy for Baltimore, is the tight end, Boyle. They like the tight end a lot in Baltimore. And Boyle, they got Ben Watson and Boyle, and I say Boyle because he's going to be under the radar, and he could get a red zone touch here and there. Watson's more of a blocking back, blocking tight end, so I don't foresee him having a whole lot of opportunity from a pass catching standpoint. On Cleveland side, Deshaun Kaiser, he's going to be good. I'm impressed with him. You could pair him with Corey Coleman. Corey Coleman's like the number one guy there. A lot of people thought that Kenny Britt was going to be. I think it's going to be Corey Coleman. He's got more ability, than they do favor him more in their routes. So I just I see this as a kind of like a say a 24-16 game with Baltimore. Cleveland can, will put up a fight a little bit, and then, I like Baltimore's defense a lot. Their pass defense is really good, So, Crowell could be a sneaky play with Kaiser as a, catch-up mode, dump passes and stuff like that. And if you want to go that route, you could. I could see using that. But that's other than that. I mean, my top guys on this game are Flacco and Jerry Maclin. So, but moving on. Let's see here. We got Buffalo at Carolina. Carolina's favored by 7.5, and over under is 42.5 points. On paper, this looks like a mismatch. And I think this game is going to be closer than a lot of people think. Carolina is not the greatest at stopping the run, and that's basically what Buffalo does. That's pretty much all they do, really. Whether it's Tyrod Taylor. I tell you what, Tyrod Taylor is one of my favorite sneaky plays this week. Mainly because salary wise and is a combination of running and he can throw it too, so pretty good when he gets the opportunity. And I mean, LaShawn McCoy catches a lot of dump off passes, along with the power running game. So if you want to do a game stack on this, I could see it. I could see taking Taylor and Jordan Matthews and McCoy, and then match it up with like a Christian McCaffrey and a Greg Olsen. That could be a winning combination because of the usage that each player is going to have. The upside is there. So it's one of them under the radar games that you could exploit. There won't be a whole lot of people on this game based on last week's results. A lot of people are going to be gravitating towards Minnesota or Kansas City or Atlanta, Green Bay's. This could be sneaky here. So keep that in mind, guys. So, but I do like Cam Newton in this game, but not as much as I like Taylor. But if you wanted to go the other way, you could go Newton and McCaffrey or Greg Olsen or Kelvin Benjamin. Yeah, you could. You could try it. I don't have a good feeling about that. I have a better feeling with McCaffrey and Olsen. So, moving on. Now this next game, a lot of people are going to be on. That's New England at New Orleans. New England's favored by 6.5. And with an over-under of 54 points. Now, Belichick has had 10 days to regroup from his butt kicking he got in week 1. So, and if you give him that much time, there's going to be, he's going to come up with something. And this is a hard one to dissect. Other than there's going to be a lot of offense. What I could see happening here, Drew Brees at home is a thing. It is. But what happened in week 1? New England couldn't stop the run. This could be a big game from Adrian Peterson, and or that rookie Kamara. Of the running backs, that's the two guys I like from the Saints. If New England gets up big, then it's a Kamara type of game. If not, I could see Adrian Peterson, running wild on this. I just think he's gonna get more opportunity this week. I just have a sneaking feeling about this. The stats, don't add up on this, but it's this is more of a gut instinct. So take it for what it's worth. If you want to go the passing game, you can go Breeze and Teddy Ginn or Kobe Fleener. Michael Thomas is going to be covered up by McCourty probably. So I'm a little hesitant with him. It could be the type of thing where he's trying to show that he's better than what Brandon Cooks was, because he'll be on the other side. And that's another, narrative here is Brandon Cooks going against former team. And he could have a really good game. But the guy I really expected to have a good game is Chris Hogan from New England. So Gillis, he's going to get you to the end zone plunges. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and then he gets you a touchdown or two, but not a whole lot of yards. So I could see that. Al Gronkowski, he could he could dominate actually in this game. So, but this game is going to be very chalky. There's going to be a lot of people on this. So for cash games, you could target this game. For, GPPs, you could take a piece of it and then, just to get exposure, and then, go to some of the other ones. So I think James White is going to have a bigger role in this one than Gillislee, mainly because I think it's going to be a offensive up and down type of game. So there's two ways to you could hedge this, where if you think it's going to where Adrian's going to run wild here because of what Kansas City did. You could do this. I mean, this is extreme contrarian approach, but you could do Peterson in New Orleans defense. It's a hard one to say, but it could be, if it doesn't live up to the hype. If it doesn't go as expected, it could give you a huge advantage over the field by going that route. Now, I only say that because you have to build multiple lineups and then hedge yourself that way. So you build your offense, build your game stack around the major players in this, and then build another one where using just the opposite, and to cover yourself. So otherwise load up on this game. Both receivers from New England, and Gronkowski, Tom Brady. It's however you want to stack it up. In GPPs. So go get creative with this game. So the next game I'm going to go with is, let's see here. I'm going to take a short break here, and then when I come back, I'm gonna get into the Arizona and Indianapolis Colts game. Welcome back. This is Jay Blaze 39, and you're listening to Fantasy Results, courtesy of DailyDraftAnalysis.com. Next matchup we're going to go into is Arizona Cardinals at Indianapolis Colts. Cardinals are favored by 7.5, and over under is 44.5. This game is going to get ugly on both sides, I think. David Johnson is out from an injury, and who knows what to expect from Indianapolis in this game. Jacoby Brissett, I think he's going to start this game. I could, this matchup on paper seems like it should favor Arizona, but Arizona's not the best team here. weird things happen, especially to a team, especially after a devastating loss to their star player David Johnson there. So, it could be a major it's a major step down from their from David to from DJ to Kerwin Williams or Andre Ellington so it's gonna all fall on the shoulders of Carson Palmer. So it's which Carson Palmer are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the one that's looking old, or are we gonna get a flashback to last year? We looked pretty good for in stretches. What I see happening here, I see a lot of people on this game, on Arizona, and for good reason. You could do Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald, John Brown, maybe J.J. Nelson. I would not start the running backs here, at least from Arizona. I could see using Frank Gore or that other rookie running back, that Mack. I had that Jack Doyle could play a role in this game for Brissett, and actually Brissett, he can run the ball as well. So keep an eye on that. I mean Arizona can be thrown on, and Detroit showed that last week. So you could take a chance on Jacoby Brissett and Dante Moncrief for T.Y. Hilton. From a contrarian standpoint, and then put in Larry Fitzgerald or John Brown. So this could be one that I would be interested in game stacking. But I'm actually looking at for Indianapolis side of things more so than Arizona. I know it doesn't seem like it would work, but it's things like that happen in the NFL, and for whatever reason there's always a team seems to go down, have a letdown after they lose their star player, and it might take them a minute or two to a game or two to regroup. Well, they lost last week, so Arizona might be come out chomping at the bit, or they could be flat. Now, if they come out flat, Indy could pull the upset here. So, that's what I'm looking at here. This is not for the faint of heart. This is for large field GPPs only, for this strategy. But yeah, it could work. So it on paper doesn't seem like it will, but things like that happen in the NFL. So so moving on. Let's see here. Next, we have what's on the docket here? I get my computer to work here, right here. Let's see here. All right, next game we have Kansas City at home in their home opener against Philadelphia. Kansas City is favored by 4.5. And the over-under is 47.5. This is going to be a chalky game also. There's going to be a lot of fantasy goodness in this game. If you want Carson Wentz is a star in the making here. Pair him up with, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, even, Torrey Smith. I could see, Torrey Smith having 1 or 2, 3 catches for, 80 yards and a touchdown. So, on Kansas City side, I think there's going to be a little bit of a regression to the means for Alex Smith. Kareem Hunt I think is going to be pretty high owned, and just because of what he did last week, I could see him having a good game. And Tariq the Freak Hill, that's a guy that, load up on this game. If it's gonna be chalky, and if you don't mind that, you could really load up on this game. With Travis Kelce, with Hill, with Hunt, Ertz, when I'm making a lineup, if I'm game stacking this one, I'm gonna take Carson Wentz, and I'm probably gonna use Zach Ertz, and then I'm gonna take Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and go that route. And then let just fill in the pieces after that. So I don't like LeGarrette Blount in this game. I know he got a touchdown last week, but I'm not feeling it. So moving on. The next game is Minnesota Vikings visiting Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Over under is 45.5. Steelers are favored by 6, which seems a little high for me. because of what Minnesota did last week. But this is going to be another stack 'em up game. I like Le'Veon Bell a lot, Antonio Brown a lot. Martavis Bryant. Martavis Bryant could be the guy here, because correction there. Antonio Brown's he's just a beast. I thought that Xavier Rhodes would be on him, but Xavier Rhodes doesn't play the slot a whole lot. So, and that's where Brown, he moves around. So, this could be an interesting matchup here. So, Ben Roethlisberger at home is a thing, but don't sleep on the Minnesota defense. They looked pretty good last week. They shut down Drew Brees pretty good. They were able to get some yards, but then they shut him down in the red zone. So, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Sam Bradford, Delvin Cook. They're all in play. Personally, I would game stack this whole game. That's where I'm gonna go. That's my favorite. This is my favorite one to go to. Is I'm gonna load up on this game. So, and you could go with Kyle Rudolph. If you wanted to get off of that, you could use Jesse James. Roethlisberger does like to throw to the tight end, so that's something to consider. And then you could get off of the ownership aspect. From an ownership aspect, Jesse James is going to be a lot lower owned than Kyle Rudolph in this game for people that go this game stack like this. That's where I'm going. Is this game? So the next game here is moving on here. We're Chicago at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is favored by 7. And the over-under is 43. And this will be actually Tampa's first game of the year, because last week's game they had a bye because of the hurricane. This game could be a revenge with Lennon going back to Tampa. This could be an under the radar game here. I would see Winston and Mike Evans, really going to town here. But if you want to get off of that, the chalk with that, the obvious play, you could go with Winston and Deshaun Jackson. I think Deshaun Jackson's going to have a pretty big game here. And I don't think a whole lot of people are going to be on him. So, now on Chicago side, with Jordan Howard he's still the guy there. He's still getting the more touches, even though they got that Tariq Cohen, kind of burst on the scene last week. And he's going to get his opportunity. But let's temper our expectations here a little bit. And they do like him, so they're going to give him the opportunity. I could see where the Bears are coming from behind, playing catch up, and Cohen's going to get opportunity there. The receivers, you could go with Marcus Wheaton, or Josh Bellamy. Kendall Wright, I guess, the de facto, number one, I guess, but he's really not. I mean, he operates out of the slot, and I don't trust him. He's a boom or bust guy, so I mean, he could go off. He could get you 2 points. We don't know. So, Jacquizz Rodgers is interesting here. He's going to get the opportunity. But I think a lot of people are going to be on him, so that steers me away from that because of the risk and then him being too chalky. So just because of salary, I'm gonna stay away from him. So that's just me personally. So I don't trust it. I don't see it. So you could go Jameis Winston and Cameron Brate also. You could go Glennon and Zach Miller, or Glennon and Cohen as a stack. And in the right game script, it could work. Next game here is Miami at the Chargers. The LA Chargers. That just sounds weird. And the Los Angeles Chargers. It just doesn't sound right. But they got a good team. So Chargers are favored by 4.5. Over under is 45.5. So I see a lot of running in this game. Jay Ajayi is going to run a lot here, and then also I see Jay Cutler. Okay, this game is going to be very low owned, and in a large field, GPP. This game, I think someone a stack from this game is going to win the big prize. So, what I see here is Jake Cutler likes to go vertical in this offense. Now, Jake Cutler, we know what he is, but if you get the good Jake Cutler, Um, it could work. So, in a large field GPP, this is going to be a good stack with Jay Cutler and Devontae Parker is my choice. And then throw in Keenan Allen. Have the three of them together. Maybe throw in Melvin Gordon if you can fit him. Or Julius Thomas. Do a three-way stack with Cutler, Parker, and Thomas. And then Keenan Allen. That could work. Another scenario could be, Philip Rivers and Keenan Allen, and then Devontae Parker. So, that's what I see happening here. But this has got, GPP winning all over it, in my opinion. I really like Jay Cutler this week. So, me personally. So, now the next game is... This looks like just a lopsided matchup here. New York Jets going to Oakland. Oakland's favored by 14. That's a huge number. Over-under is 43.5. Can you say Oakland defense? Because that's where everybody's going to be going. And I could see this being a Marshawn Lynch heavy day. With and pair it up with the Oakland defense. This is the type of game Vegas is telling you, hey, dummy, pick this guy, pick this. This is the team to pick. So 14 is a huge number. That's just, I don't know. They could be completely off. Or the Jets could put up a fight too. I don't see it, but there are some points here to be made. For the Jets if they show any type of competency at all. Josh McCown and Jermaine Kearse could be an interesting pair. Bly Powell could be, an interesting, pass catching back, in catch-up mode. So there could be some garbage time points or, stats that could come into play here. So, it could, it could work. But Derek Carr and Cooper and Crabtree, they're gonna have a field day here. This game's gonna get ugly. So, you could load up on your Raiders. Actually, and then you could do a whole game stack based on catch-up mode and garbage time. It could work. So, But that's really thinking outside the box, and I don't see that happening. So, let's move on to the next game. Next game is Washington Redskins against the Rams of LA. The Rams are actually favored by 2.5 in this game. Over under is 46. There's an interesting contrast in this game. The Rams defense is really good, and I think they'll be getting Aaron Donald back this week too. So that's only going to help their cause. Jared Goff is going to be someone that you could take a flyer on and pair him up with Cooper Kupp or Sammy Watkins. Todd Gurley is going to be a major player in this game. You could, you could do Kirk Cousins, pair him with Pryor. A lot of people will. But I could see. Keep an eye on this the pass catching back, Chris Thompson. He could be a sneaky play here. Also, I forgot to mention in the Chicago game there, a guy to keep an eye on is Deontay Thompson. There'll be no ownership on him, but he could take a flyer on him. I forgot to mention him, and he is one of my sneaky punts this week. So that's something to consider here. But for this game, there's gonna be. This is going to be like a 28-22 game. Jordan Reed is in play. You could game stack on this, and it could work. So, but it's not my top choice here. But now the next game is an interesting one. Dallas against Denver. Over under is 42.5. And Cowboys are favored by 2. What I see happening here is this is going to be the Ezekiel Elliott show. Dez Bryant is going to be a no-show. I don't see him doing much against this defense. I could see Trevor Siemian having a good game. C.J. Anderson and Demaryius Thomas are the only ones I have an interest in. On the Cowboys side, the only one I have an interest in is Zeke Elliott. Maybe Jason Witten in a pinch, but that's it. Otherwise I don't. I don't see this being a very fantasy, friendly type of game. So, yeah. Next game, moving on. 49ers versus Seattle Seahawks. This is in Seattle. Huge spread here. 13.5. Favor of Seattle. Over-under is 43. Seattle's going to have a bounce-back game. These two franchises have played each other tough over the years, and a lot of people are going to be off of this game, or they're going to be loading up on Seattle. Look for Carlos Hyde. He's going to have a decent game, I think. Russell Wilson's one of my favorite quarterbacks this week. Him and Doug Baldwin. Obviously, you could pair him up with Jimmy Graham. Or Paul Richardson in a GPP. This Carson guy from, was it Chris Carson from Seattle? He could be in play. CJ Procise is the third down back. He could be sneaky. He could break one. But in this one, I'm taking Seattle's defense. So that's, and then pairing up with probably Carson, or Rawls, depending on who starts here. I don't see a whole lot of offense from San Fran on this game. So then that comes to the game that everybody's going to be on. This is going to be such a chalky game. It's unbelievable. But you're gonna have to have a piece of it in order to win. A Millionaire Maker or a big contest like that. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to have exposure to it, because it's otherwise you're gonna get bypassed. That's just the way it is. Atlanta's at Green Bay at Atlanta. The over-under is 53.5. Atlanta's favored by 2.5. This is going to be a 35-28 game. This has got shootout written all over it. My favorites in this game: Ty Montgomery, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, all the usual players, Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people are going to be on Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go with Matt Ryan and pair him with Julio Jones and Austin Hooper. Devontae Freeman, it's Devontae Freeman has been on some big scoring weeks. So he helped me win a good amount. So, I'm kind of partial to him. So, and I do think he's got a good matchup this week. So, I mean, it's going to be basically a track meet. So, mix and match this game however you want to do it. You could take a flyer on someone like Taylor Gabriel for a big play. Mohamed Sanu could have a sneaky play. It's however you want to, shape it up. Or you could go just the opposite and go against the grain and pick one of these defenses and a running back and pair it up. And hopefully this is, a low-scoring game. That could work in a big contest. I mean, that's one of them hedge bets that you might need to do. So that's it could work. It's we don't know, but that's what I see happening. But yeah, load up on that game. It's going to be the chalk. But you're going to have a piece of it. So that brings us to our last game of the weekend. It's the Monday night game. Detroit Lions are traveling to MetLife Stadium in New York, New Jersey, to take on the Giants. Giants are favored by 4. And over-under is 43.5. And we still don't know if Odell Beckham is going to play. I'm thinking that he might. I think I think this is the week when Evan Ingram gets going. For what I like here is if Odell is out, I'm gonna pair Eli and Ingram or Eli and Shepard. And then I'm also in another stack I'm gonna take Stafford and Golden Tate, and Stafford and Kenny Galladay, or Eric Ebron. I think Ebron could have a sneaky good game here. So Amir Abdullah is kind of the lead back there, but I don't know how much I put into that. The Giants' defense is no slouch either. So you could okay, when I'm looking at this game, the Giants got embarrassed last week, and at home here, I think they're gonna come out and want to make a statement. So I see the Giants defense really doing a number on Detroit's offense. So this could turn into a Giants defense and Paul Perkins type of show. I just think that Stafford's good, but he's a gunslinger. So he'll take chances, and the Giants got very good secondary. So keep that in mind. So I mean, if Odell plays, yeah, I'm taking him. But if not, it's Ingram and Eli and maybe Shane Marine. In that. So, but that's it. That's what I got going this week. This week is a week when a lot of people are going to be overreacting to what happened last week. Don't fall into that trap. That there's going to be a lot of return to the means in some of these matchups. Some of the matchups and they look too tempting on paper. And a lot of people are going to get burned by it because there's a lot of parity in this league. So not too often teams are going to get blown out. So from a fantasy perspective, there's some strategy to be warranted to playing from garbage time points. Hey, it all counts. So that just keep that in mind when you're making your lineups. So just pick a couple, on a huge slate, make 3 games and just go with that. That's what, and make sure everything correlates together. And if you do that, you're gonna give yourself a huge chance to profit this week. So, and I wish you guys the best of luck in your contest. And let's go win some money. This has been a fantasy results production, and then at good folks at dailydraftanalysis.com. And my name is JBlaze39, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks.